87% of realtors that get into the business get out of the business after 2 years. That does not exist in our world.
We have massive visions around growing our businesses, and we are always looking to add talent to our world. We do everything in our power to ensure the people we surround ourselves with defy the odds, get into production, and build massive lives for themselves.
We have interviewed some of the top realtors in the world. If you're a new realtor, a top producer, or CEO of a mega team, Sales Beast Podcast is your blueprint for success.
With locations all across Canada, reach out to us to talk about partnership and opportunities. We are looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm the boss.
Thank you so much for joining us. This one's going to be a little bit different than the webinars we've done in the past. I know everything we've done in the past has been very much sales related. There will be some of that in this webinar, but we're going to be talking about the operations side and exactly what our team is doing and what these two amazing women are doing. We are joined by Kristan and Jade. They're the heart and soul of our operations. They make sure everything runs smoothly. They make sure our agents are very well taken care of. And most importantly, they make sure our clients are well taken care of. I heard something yesterday, or not yesterday, it was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I shared this with you guys. I did check to see who was in attendance. There are none of our agents here. If they were here, I wouldn't say it. But I thought it made a lot of sense. This person told me agents will come, agents will go. But you have to hang on tight to your ops people. If you lose an agent, it's like losing a limb. If you lose your ops, that core of your business, it's like losing your heart. And that's very true. I know if we didn't have a strong operations team, the whole thing would fall apart. So I can share a little bit of the background on our ops team. So I've been working with both Kristan and Jade for quite some time. If any of you guys have tuned into my webinars before, or if you've gotten to know me, the version of me you see today is very different than you would have seen when I first got in the business 6 years ago. I would say I was the most transactional realtor in Hamilton, not something I'm proud of. I was very much turn and burn, always hunting for the next deal. Fortunately, I met these two amazing people and they've shifted my mindset away from that. Today, I'm proud to say my business at that point is 100% prospecting based. Today, we're at, I think, 56% repeat referral. A large part of that is a result of the systems Jade and Kristan are going to teach you guys about today. Introduce yourselves.
Okay. I'm Jade. I'm the director of marketing and I plan all the events for the team. I've been with the team for just over 2 years now. Went to university out east, Dalhousie, moved to Australia for a couple of years, then came home and I got right into real estate. I've been working in real estate for about 6 years now on the operational side, which is a little different because most people get into it and then want to become an agent right away. I'm very operational. I like the ops side. I like systems. I like marketing. My mom's actually a broker, so that's kind of how I got into it. I worked with her for 4 years and then moved to Hamilton and came over to MRN. And now here I am.
Awesome. Yeah, so I started with MRN. I can't believe this is the case, but it's almost been 5.5 years now. I started in ISA. Before MRN, I worked in hospitality for a really long time. I want to say maybe 13 years. Before that, I was a journalist. I was a crime reporter for a newspaper because newspapers were a thing when I was in my early 20s. You know, and spending time in hospitality was really, really great because it kind of got me ready to be an ISA, you know, being in positions where people don't really want to talk to you a lot, trying to book appointments for the team. And in ISA, what I found was picking up the phone and calling the database. What I really loved about it was building connections and calling the same people over and over. There were some people that I would always make the last call of the day because I just genuinely love chatting with them. And, I really love building those relationships. And so through that position, I kind of created what we have now as client care for the team. And I really see it as being a great leverage point for a lot of our agents on the team. And it's something that I genuinely really, really love. I feel like, real estate is a relationship business. So it's my favorite thing. I love talking about it. And so I'm really excited to share this stuff with you guys and talk more about our ops team.
Mike, do you want to touch on this?
Yeah, so I'll share this with you guys. The only reason I share this is because for a big part of my life, I was a prisoner. I would have people forcing me to go to seminars or webinars just like this, and I wouldn't really pay attention. I was there to kill time or because someone told me to be there. I encourage all of you to show up as an explorer. Take notes. Jade and Kristan are going to share a ton of great information. They've literally spent the last 5.5 years figuring this out. A lot of it's been through trial and error. Some of it's been going and meeting other teams that produce at a high level. It's going to be a very valuable session. I hope you can take what you learned today and apply it to your own business and grow your repeat referral business the same way they've been able to help me do that.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking about our systems, database, operations today. These are our main systems right now. We use them every single day. First thing I probably do in the morning is I wake up and I check Slack. Slack is our communication system. If you've ever worked with like Microsoft Teams, we like to describe it as WhatsApp on crack. It's got integrations with everything. So we're going to be touching on these systems and how they actually all work together. And how it's really, especially if you join a team, but even if you are a solo agent, things like FUB, syncing your Google Cal are crazy important. You might not need Slack right away, but it is something that's great to eventually implement. FUB, aka Follow-Up Boss, our favorite database system we've used a lot. This one is definitely the most user-friendly. Sync is our lead generation system, our online lead system. Obviously, our team does a lot of different things to generate leads, but this is the one that works with FUB and works with Slack, and it all gets integrated. And then our Google system. Some people are on Microsoft, we're on Google. It integrates with all of our systems, which we love. And we just use our calendars at a very high level. Obviously, the emails and other things like Google Meets we use every day as well. The first thing that we're going to discuss is contract to close, meaning when a contract comes in from an agent, and then what the ops team does when we get that. So pretty much when the agent on our team, their job is to talk to clients, lead generate and sign listings and buyers and deals. And then we take over the rest so the agents can really focus on what they're meant to do. And that's to get out and talk to people and sign deals. So other than our agents really filling out paperwork, they don't do the client care, they don't do the marketing, they don't have to worry about these systems. They pretty much send us the paperwork and me and Kristan take over, as well as our transaction girl, Jessie, and then Montana, our director of ops. So first step is they get the listing signed, they fill out the paperwork, they email it to the ops team. From there, what we do, and then they also have to put their client in Follow-Up Boss. That's our database. Pretty much from there, an action plan is started. We'll go into that a little bit more in detail as to what that is next. But that's essentially a plan that gives all the ops team tasks to do for this specific listing. From there, a Slack channel is created. I can share my screen a little bit later and show you exactly what it looks like, but let's say we're listing 123 Main Street. We start a specific Slack channel for 123 Main Street. So everything about that listing is talked about in that Slack channel, and then also doubled up in Follow-Up Boss in that client's profile. After that, the listing and buyer process is started, and that's where Kristan jumps in and she'll do her client care touches, like her welcome call. We talk about photos, we talk about staging. And then once we get photos booked and we get photos back, then the marketing aspect comes in. I step in, we'll get some brochures done, we'll do some social media, we'll do some listing, just listed, just solds. And then Jessie, who is our transaction coordinator, she broker loads the whole thing. So pretty much like all the agent is doing in this aspect is just kind of like updating us. Of course, they're also in contact with their client, but Kristan does a lot of the heavy lifting with all of the bookings and things like that. This next slide, I have all your details, Kristan, so you can kind of talk about it more in detail.
That's good, yeah. Awesome. So yeah, just like Jade said, paperwork comes in, we start Slack, we start Follow Boss. And I mean, what's so great about our tech stack is Slack and Follow Boss work so well together. So generally when our paperwork comes in, we've got both open, right? And what happens there is we go into FUB and I'm picking up the phone and calling that client. Now, one thing that we just introduced just a few months ago is adding in a text right before that welcome call. Because what we found when we did our happy holiday calls this past year, no one was picking up their phone. So it wasn't that they were picking up and kind of sounding cranky about it. It was that they really they're not picking up. So to make sure that we are having that welcome call, we're actually doing a welcome text first. So we're just saying, this is Kristan from MRN. I'm going to be giving you a call to talk about next steps with your listing. And then I pick up the phone and call them and then they answer, which is great. So at that point, I deliver the promise script and I'll take you through that in just a sec. We'll also send it out to you, just a variation of it that you're welcome to use. But ultimately, what we're doing is building rapport with the client. We're going over everything that the agent submitted on the cover sheet. So did they want to sign? Are we going to be doing staging? Do they need cleaners? You know, we have a lot of people that we've worked with who are downsizing. And in that case, they might need donation pickup. They might need a bin rental or an auction, right? So whatever those services are, we kind of get the timeline set up and start organizing those services. Once that's done and the notes are updated in Follow Up Boss, we move over to Slack, which is where we kind of give the agent the quick, easy to read synopsis of what happened on that welcome call so they can read it while they're, you know, running around town doing their appointments, right? So everything that we went over on the welcome call, we're just putting that in Slack and saying, this is the timeline that we've set up with this client. Does this work for you? Once that's confirmed, great, we start getting everything lined up. Now, after that welcome call happens and we do that promise script, and I'm going to come back to the promise script in a second, we send a follow-up email that just outlines everything we talked about on the phone, and then we provide contact information for everybody. We title that one, Save This Email, because everything that they need is going to be right in there for them. And I just want to mention too, that anything that changes in that timeline, we're going to send another Save This Email. And the reason why is we want to get ahead of any questions that come up, right? And so in this pre-list section, it's super important for us to make sure that we answer any questions before the client has to request it, right? So we don't want them to have to say like, when did you say this was again? We want to make sure that they know, okay, I just have to look for Kristan's name in my inbox and I'm going to see that email. So just as Jade said, you know, we booked the photos, staging, sign, floor plans. That's done for the agent as the sign is, as the vendors are, and then we take care of any vendors. So that's the pre-list section. Because we're doing contract to close, I find in that pre-list, that's where we're getting a lot of stuff organized. And we don't see that kind of level of involvement usually until we get to sold firm, unless we're working with someone who's downsizing. Right. So someone who's downsizing, we continually check in with them, usually 3 times a week, depending on the client. Investors, their worst nightmare is hearing from me 3 times a week. They want a purposeful text, right? Once per week, if it's necessary. If not, then once every other week and just with feedback, right? So it's really customized depending on that client, which we get a sense for on that welcome call. Now, should I go through, I can't remember, Jade, should I go through the promise script now or should I do that later? Should I take us through the script?
Go through it now because I think
okay.
The other slide is testimonials and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
Which kind of ties in.
Yeah. Do one of you want to be my Jade? Do you want to be my seller?
Sure.
Okay. Yay. Okay, so I called Jade. We're building rapport. She told me about her dog. Everything is going well on this call. And then I say, okay, so Jade, we've talked about photos. We've talked about next steps. We've talked about Scarlett, your dog. Now there's one more thing that I have to go over with you if you have time. Do you have like maybe 3 more minutes to chat with me?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, amazing. So one of the things that we really hold ourselves to a high standard on is delivering what we call the promise. Now, I'm not sure if Mike mentioned to you what the promise is when he came to do the listing appointment. Did he tell you about the promise yet?
He has not.
Okay, good, because I'm glad, because I don't want him to steal my thunder here. So what I wanted to tell you about was our promise. And essentially what it is that every single thing that happens during this transaction, we want to make sure that you could not imagine it being any better. Like you could not imagine it being any better. It's a 11 out of 10. And you are so thrilled with our services that you want to share it to your friends, family, and you would be proud to share our information to them because you've had such a great experience. Now, that said, we know that this is real estate, right? So there's always going to be people issues that come up, not people issues, but there's always, when you have personalities and people, things might happen, things come up. What I want to make clear though, is that no matter what happens, we will always try and be one step ahead. We will always try and get it resolved as soon as we possibly can. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing.
I love that. Okay, good. I'm so glad we're on the same page. So that said, we're going to talk about your questions before we get off this call, but I want to just ask you for one more favor, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Now, while we're working together, real estate's a big deal. We find that all of our clients, while they're working with us, they have neighbors, they have coworkers, they have family that have questions about real estate, that are interested in how you're doing with the sale of your home, right? And so we're asking you to take it one step further than just giving out our information, because I know we talked about this earlier and you're happy to give out our info, and that's great. But what we'd love is if you could call, text, or email us the contact information for these people that have questions in real estate, so we can make sure that we get connected with them. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh gosh, I appreciate that so much, Jade. So what I'm going to do is, after we get off the phone, I'm going to send you over an email just with everything we talked about, the timeline, and then I'm going to tell you again about the promise, because the way that this is going to happen is I'm going to be checking in with you throughout the listing process just to make sure that you're super happy. And if things aren't going well, we want to address it in the moment and make sure that we can give you that 11 out of 10 experience. Okay. So at the end, when we're at the closing table, we've sold your home, everything has gone well, we're going to ask you for those referrals. And so if we didn't get those referrals from you during the process, we're going to ask you what we could have done better to earn them from you. Okay. And we're going to have that tough conversation then. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. I really appreciate that, Jade. Okay. So, and that's kind of where we end it. It kind of changes depending on who we're talking to. But that's the gist of it, right? We're letting them know what we expect. We're letting them know that while it's great that they're going to give out our information, we want them to email, call, or text us. And the reason why we say that is because a lot of times they'll say, oh yeah, I'll give them the info, and maybe they will, and that's great, but we want them to actually send it in so we can put them in our CRM. The other piece of this script is that it doesn't just exist on the welcome call. The whole purpose of it is that it's introduced on the welcome call. And then every single time we check in, we're saying, how are things going? How are things going? What would you rate us out of 10, right? When we come up to sold firm, if we haven't received a referral, we do ask to hold them, we want to hold them accountable. And we say, okay, we didn't get any referrals from you, so we think that we failed here. So what could we have done better, right? And really it's just coming from a place of curiosity. Like, we genuinely want to know, if we didn't earn that referral, how can we improve our systems? How can we improve what we do to earn that next time, right? So that's the promise script, and we can send that out to everybody after this webinar. Now, after we get through that pre-list section, we go into the live listing phase, right? So at that point, we're checking in twice per week minimum, Mondays and Fridays. We send out all the showing feedback that we get over the weekend on Mondays, and anything else that we need to communicate. We also check in Fridays with that showing feedback again, right? For people who need an extra check-in point, we're doing one on Wednesday usually. Some downsizers, it's twice a week, right? So we end up following up with them a few more times because they might not have an email address. Then we're actually calling them to do the showing feedback and let them know how that's going over the phone, right? So it just kind of depends on the client there. Once we sell firm, we're doing a congrats text and then a congrats call. On the congrats call, we're doing an NPS survey. And what that is just, how would you rate it again out of 1 to 10? 8 and above, we're automatically getting them onto our action plan for Google reviews. If it's 8 or below, then we really need to get them up to an 8 or above before closing day, right? So that's what we're doing there. We're also trying to get a testimonial for our agent so that we can send that over to Jade to brand for them to use on social media. And then we still do the check-ins with them until closing day. The check-ins, though, they drop down to 1 per week. Many investors, I find they only want once a month, depending on when the closing day is. It might be more if it's like a month closing. If it's a few months, once a month is usually sufficient for them because they really don't need a lot. And at that point, we're organizing any vendors they need, right? So if they need cleaners, movers, storage, if they need to send all their furniture to another country, like we're going to do that. So whatever they need, we're kind of just assisting them with that before closing day.
Can we chat on that promise strip for a second? Yeah, I know we do a ton of things to communicate with our database. I'm trying to remember them all, but at least 4 times a year we reach out using the telephone to check in on them and prompt them to provide us with business. We do a couple client events. We do pop-bys where we ask for referrals, but I think when they're in the process of selling their house, that's the most opportune time to ask for business. And what I found over the years is that when someone's buying or selling a piece of real estate, it's the absolute biggest thing going on in their life at that point in time. And they're like prospecting machines. Hey, Tom, you know, I'm selling my house. Isn't that great? We're planning on moving here. Hey, Sally, you know, I'm selling my house. We're planning on moving here. Hey, John, we're buying a house. It's the greatest thing ever. We're looking to move to a different neighborhood. They're literally going throughout their lives telling absolutely everyone that they're either buying or selling. And that prompts a conversation with a lot of people. More often than not, one of the people they're conversing with will also be buying or selling. So if we're constantly asking for referrals through that promise script, the odds of that business coming back to us is significantly higher.
Yeah, I think the main thing is you just have to ask. And the way Kristan words it is amazing, and it's almost like you can't say no. Even if you're like, oh, I hope this person sells, like you're just putting them you're putting us in contact with more people essentially, and that's the goal at the end of the day, right? So yeah, we see it work all the time, and it's great because we have like the agents always asking for referrals, but having client care and having Kristan also like back you up and ask for that referral and give that promise script in that way, will just bring in way more business. So contract to close on the marketing side. Again, a lot of this is pre-list, and then kind of some things that we do after we go live. So like we said, Kristan books the photos for the agent. And for the clients, she's normally checking in with the client on kind of when works for them. And then we loop the agent in and say, these are the days that work for them. Can you be there for a reel and for photos? We always like our agents there to do one last walkthrough of the house, make sure, you know, toilet seats are down, blinds are open, things like that. So that photos are really showing 100% like these, and the clients are happy with it. Because the last thing we want is the client to be pissed that, you know, a toilet seat was up or something wasn't proper. So we like to have the agent there. And we also get a reel done on every listing. We know that like videos and TikTok are just popping off right now. So we always get an agent there to intro it. Essentially, when photos and videos are done, we get that back within 24 to 48 hours. Normally it's 24 hours. From there, I start branding everything for the agent. So we'll make simple, just listed, just sold, coming soon graphics. Those are just the basics, but we find that the agents still want them. So we'll always create them for them. I also brand floor plans. So we get the floor plans done. We have a simple template that has our logo on the top, our info on the bottom. It's on a nice long piece of paper, and I'll put the floor plans on there so the agent can print them and have them at the listing. We also create a feature sheet. One side is just a few photos with the remarks on it. The other side has information, quick info. So like square footage, beds, baths, garage, as well as schools. One thing that I'm sure that you guys know this, but like when people are moving, if they have kids, they want to be in their neighborhood. They want to know what school districts they are. So having those feature sheets there with what Catholic schools, private schools, and public schools are in that district is really good. So we create all of that for them. We'll print it at the office, and then they'll bring that to the listing on live date and make sure that it's always replenished for open houses. I also take those photos and I take that reel and I post it on our team's social. Great thing that Instagram has is it has the collaboration feature. So our agents don't even actually have to go post their own listing now. Since I'm posting it on the team's social, I'll add that agent as a collaborator. All they have to do is accept, and it has all the info in there. So it's pretty simple for them. And then of course, if they want to do their own social, their own reel, their own TikTok on it, we support them with that as well. Then if we're hosting an open house, we have a really good open house process as well. We have a Monday morning meeting every Monday in person in the office. We go around, we ask who's hosting open houses that weekend. And then from there, another action plan is kicked off and follow-up boss. And everybody on the team has tasks for that open house. For myself, I create open house graphics. We create a landing page. So instead of the old pen and paper, and then having to go put it in your database or like your phone or whatever, we have a landing page on MailChimp where everybody signs in. It's very simple. Welcome to my open house. And then it has first name, last name, phone number, email, and they fill that out, they click sign in. Right when they sign in, that is going to two places. That's automatically going into our MailChimp database, which is our email database where we send out our monthly newsletters, anything that's just listed, anything that's just sold, any events we're having, they're right in that database. MailChimp, we also have it configured to hook up with our follow-up boss. So right when somebody signs in for that agent, it automatically also goes into follow-up boss and they get a task to follow up with that client. Because right after, we all know right after you host an open house, all of the people that came through, you want to do your follow-ups that evening, latest that next morning. So we want to have their email, we want to have their phone number, we want to have their name and a reminder to follow up with them. Also, right when we go live, I send a specific email to our whole database and to our realtor database. We have two separate databases about the listing. So a simple like just listed, we have the price, we have the photos, but we're just getting it out to the public more instead of just, just posting it on social or just listing it on MLS. We need to advertise it as much as we can. And then one thing that we just started is we made an Instagram group for our whole team. So anything that I post, we just send it in that group, and then it's really super accessible for our agents to share it on their stories or to actually take it and post it themselves. In Slack, we actually have a social media channel. So anybody's listing will get posted in that social media channel without a headshot on it. So anybody can post it and potentially bring a buyer or just help the team advertise that listing. So that's pretty much contract to close for marketing. Other things that we do, obviously we do brochures. We'll do some more like feature sheets and things like that for open houses. A lot of the times we have some agents that will want like a marketing package put together for a specific property. So I help out with that as well. And we've also just started a TikTok because we know that videos and everything are popping off right now. So a lot of our agents are actually asking me to go out to properties with them or just film them in the office. And then I'll put together a little reel for them. So it's just having that extra support on the marketing end where you don't have to go like film yourself or try to edit something yourself. I'm there to help you do that.
Also Canva. I feel like the amount of time people spend in Canva, if they don't know how to use it, like I've heard of people spending 4 or 5 hours trying to do listing graphics, and it can be time consuming. Yeah,
our Canva, I mean, we love it because it's just templates are great. But that's something that, when you are a solo agent, you're going to be spending so much time just creating those graphics and so much time creating those videos and so much time creating that listing marketing package for your listing. Even broker loading it, unless your brokerage does that for you. It's just a lot of things that our team just takes off your plate. So our touch program, like Mike was saying, what we do, we call it our 36 touch program. I think it might be more touches now. It might be one less, 5 more. I don't really know. We need to count the touches again, but I think we're above 36.
I think we're like 46 or 47. Yeah.
But for some reason, it's just still called our 36 touch program. The 36 touch program is for, we call it top 50 sphere, but just our sphere in general. We always just say top 50 in our office, but some people like Mike probably has like a top 200 sphere, and then past clients. So these are people that, you know, your parents, your friends, your family, but also like anyone who's transacted with you in the past. So we do, I'm sure you'd see this with most teams, but we always do a monthly newsletter that goes out probably the second week of the month, because we wait for market stats to come out. We include that in there. We write a little message to the team. We put all our listings in there. We put on neighborhood info. Mike has a great podcast that we link. It's kind of like your like realtor newsletter, but it's more like community based. We don't try to just like, hey, here's the market stats, right? We want to kind of give you meaningful info. We also do 2 client appreciation events a year. I think I have another slide where I'll go into detail about those events, but those are 2 in-person events that we hold. We put these on for the agents. All the agents have to do is invite them. We set everything up, we plan everything. The team pays for it. It's literally the agents have to invite their clients and show up. We also do 3 to 4 pop buys a year. So Christmas is a big one. We organize it for them again. We make the gifts or the baskets or whatever we're doing, and the agents just have to let us know how many they want. And then we organize in their calendars pop buy times. So we're going to do it for fall. We're going to do some like fall cleanup bags with like our branding on it. So everyone, like when they're raking their leaves and putting it in those bags, it has our big MRN logo, like sitting on the corner of the lawn. So super simple, not too expensive, and free advertising. And then again, another reason to just go talk to your clients. We do 4 sphere call nights a year. So every quarter, it's already in our calendars. We plan this out in December for the following year, and we put it in everyone's calendar. Everybody comes to the office, we order pizza, and we get on the phones. And then we also double that up with 4 texts. So the texts and the calls are actually supposed to be at different timings. So if we're texting in February, we're calling in March. Again, just always staying top of mind is the main priority here. 2 direct mailers. These mailers right now are going out after our client appreciation events. So essentially after our Jays game event that we just had a few weeks ago, 2 days later, we sent out about 200 thank you cards to all of our clients for coming. And then home anniversary CMAs. I think we have a slide on this, Kristan, but do you want to quickly touch on it?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that we started doing is taking all of the home anniversaries after closing day in Slack and moving them over to Follow Up Boss for tracking. And what's great about, and a lot of CRMs have automations, but Follow Up Boss specifically has an automation, so we know when a home anniversary is coming up. And so every month we pull all the home anniversaries for that month, and we put together a nice little 1-pager to send out in the mail to that client that purchased that property the year prior. So what's great about that is we used to do this by email, right? We would send an email CMA. What we found was, though, a lot of people weren't opening them because people get a million emails these days, right? And so what's great about this program is we send out a nice 1-pager with the information that they have to know about the value of their home right now. And it's really easy and simple to read with a call to action on it for them to get in touch with us. So this is something new that we've implemented. So it's really exciting to see, how this is going to play out. We're just creating value for these buyers, and then ultimately maybe even increasing our repeat referral business and repeat clients. So.
And again, like this is all done for you by our ops team, other than actually having to send that text out or get on the phone. The events, the newsletters, the direct mailers, the CMAs, like imagine how much time that would take if you actually put that in your calendar and had to do that all yourself. This is something that Kristan and I we literally do all of this.
What I find really great about this too is ultimately with the CMA program, with all of these things, really, and even when client care is reaching out to our past clients, the agent doesn't necessarily know these things are happening in the back end unless they go into that profile. They can read what's all the action happening within that profile on that client. So they can see, okay, yes, they were texted by Kristan, they were sent a CMA, but we don't need to reach out to these agents and ask them questions. We're not putting together CMA and asking for the agent to review it. We're doing it within the ops team. So our agents, they can just trust that these things are happening in the back end, and they can see it when they go into the CRM to follow up with that client themselves.
Yeah, which is great. So that's why, like, again, we just record everything we do is recorded in that client's profile.
When I hear all this, I think a big part of the reason I'm not transactional anymore has nothing to do with me being a better realtor. It's what's going on behind the scenes. There's a stat I heard a while ago. I don't remember specifically what the numbers are, but I'll make the numbers up and you'll get the point. It was something like 80% of people had a great experience with the realtor and said they would use their realtor again, but only 20% actually used their realtor again because they forgot the realtor's name when the time came to buy or sell again. With this system, it's literally impossible for any of my clients to forget my name, and I don't even need to do the work. It's amazing. Another thing you guys do that you didn't mention that I think is really cool, birthdays.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys automatically send something out to all of my clients on their birthday, wishing them happy birthday. And then there's an action plan that prompts me to call them. What I find happens 9 times out of 10, though, the client calls me first to thank me for the birthday card, which is so cool.
Yeah, I feel like I have that in another slide.
Okay,
I'm not sure. I could have just forgotten it, but yeah, the birthday. Again, it's automated. So if somebody puts in, let's say Mike is putting in his new client that he met yesterday into Follow Up Boss, and we get everyone's birthdays from getting their IDs when they're transacting with us. So again, Jessie, who is our transaction coordinator, she puts that birthday into Follow Up Boss for you. And then putting that birthday into Follow Up Boss automatically kicks off an action plan that's going to tell Kristan and Montana that it's their birthday and we need to mail out a birthday card.
And
so
Mike
doesn't even have to do any of it.
And it prompts the text. So it's going to assign a task to the agent to text them. But like Mike said, we've heard that from a few agents on the team. They're like, this is so great. I'm getting thanked for these cards being sent in the mail, and like, I didn't even touch it. But Montana she handwrites the messages out with love. And so that those are always sent out on time. And we get a task through Follow Up Boss to send them 7 days prior to their birthday. And so that's automated.
Which is so great about this. Like I said prior, I worked with my mom for 4 years. Every time I would get an ID, we had a birthday spreadsheet organized by month, and I would have to put their birthday in. And essentially every month I was printing that spreadsheet and like writing birthday cards and crossing it off the list. And then like my mom would go call them, and then I'd have to go mail it. And like, it just wasn't, we had a system, but it wasn't like this. This is like all automated. It's so much better. Everybody has their one little task to do, and it just works and it flows. And missing client birthdays, like we never miss a client's birthday, which is amazing. To touch on events, like I said, we do 2 larger client appreciation events a year. This is our 2nd year doing the Jays game. We had over 300 people come out to the Jays game. So what we did for that is we have a coordinator guy that works for the Jays. We put about 300 tickets on hold. We bought them all, and we invited our clients. We made a simple sign up page. All the clients had to do was put in their name, their number, how many people that they were coming with. And then we provided also transportation. So they just had to click if they wanted to take the bus from the pickup spot in Burlington. We drove them out, we picked them up, we drove them back. Some people took the train, some people drove, but we had 300 of our clients all sitting together. It was great. We had so much great feedback. snacks. Some people brought their kids to the game. A lot of our clients were saying it was their kids' first Jays game. They loved it. And we always do this during home opener week. The reason we do this too is because if you don't really like baseball, it's still exciting to go to a home opener game. So we find that just home opener week gets a lot of people out, especially after like the winter months. This is kind of like April's a kickoff, and the dome was open like that first week of April. That was super, super warm. We got super lucky, and it was amazing. So this is something that now is just, we're going to do every year, and our clients can expect it. And then right now I'm currently planning a fall family fair. We're going to have like a band, we're going to have a food truck. This is going to be a little bit more, easier to mingle with your clients. So one thing that we find great about the Jays game is it's such a fun experience for people to go to, but you can't really mingle with them as much, where now we're following it up with a fall event where it's meant for families, or not, just yourself if you want to come drink some beer, but it's a little bit different style, which is great. So we're offering 2 very different events every year, planned for all the agents. They don't have to do anything other than invite their clients. We also do 12 webinars a year. Not meaning these ones, like we do first time home buyers, we do investors, we do this empowered homeowners one. These are webinars and seminars in person. So again, those are emails that are going out to our clients, inviting them to educational webinars. We also do some great team things. So if you guys are all realtors or thinking of becoming a realtor, we don't just do stuff for the clients, we do stuff for each other as well. So we do team events. So in June, we're going to a cottage on Lake Muskoka. We rented that for 2 nights, just going up for a weekend. So our whole team is going up. There's about 20 of us going. So super fun time for that. We also volunteer. So this is us over here at City Kids on the right, monthly. So we volunteer within our community. We go to mission services. We help pack groceries for those in need. We go to City Kids. We help provide toys for those in need. Tomorrow is actually our annual Red Day. So we're going to Children's Aid in Hamilton. Just something to give back to our community that doesn't really have to do with clients. It's just more for like giving back to the community and for our team. We also do a Mexico incentive trip. Mike, do you want to touch on this, on how they can qualify and kind of what it is?
Yeah, so it runs from, I believe it starts in September and ends around September. It's a GCI target. So whoever hits the GCI target qualifies for the trip. It's for them, and it's for the agent that qualifies and their spouse. And then there's a team component. So just because you don't qualify based on your GCI doesn't necessarily mean you don't qualify for the trip. If someone exceeds their target, the amount they exceed will be put towards someone else's trip. So normally, I don't know how many people we normally have go down, 15 people, I would say. 5-star hotel, really good time. We go for 4 to 5 nights. Yeah, I just think the best way to get to know the people you work with is not to go to dinner with them or work beside them every day. It's to hop on a plane and go have some fun.
Yeah. So this will be our 4th year doing it. And when Mike says like you qualify based on GCI, meaning that if you hit that target, let's say it's 200K in GCI, the team is paying for your trip. So you don't have to pay, and for your spouse. So that's another incentive. And it's also a great thing to kind of just hold people accountable and have that thing at the end of the year that everyone's looking forward to. Lead generation. So obviously we provide different sources of lead gen. These are things that, again, are completely set up for you, put in your calendar, and provided to you by the team. So Sync is online leads. Sync is essentially a website that has a bunch of homes for sale. And when somebody goes onto it and they're browsing for homes, in order for them to browse for homes, they have to put in their information. So their name, their email, their phone number. When they do that, that goes into our Sync site. From going into our Sync site, it automatically goes into our follow-up boss and then assigns that lead to an agent. So our agents are getting leads daily from Sync of actual people looking for homes right now online. Sync, we've done a lot of research on this, and Sync out of all the research we've done, is probably the best online lead generation source right now out there. So that's something that's provided to the team. Again, our Sphere call nights, those are scheduled and already put in your calendar. We also provide scripts for those. So right after the Jays game, we had a Sphere call night the next week. We had a script written out. It was emailed to everybody, and they pretty much just were calling and thanking their clients for coming, and then asking for a referral or asking what their real estate plans are within the next 2 to 3 years. We do digital marketing. So obviously, like I was saying before, posting to social media for you guys, adding the collaborator aspect to it. We also do some sponsored posts that are managed by the team for some listings that we need to promote more. We also do door knocking and open houses. Obviously, open houses are normal, but door knocking, I don't find everybody does. Our team, we do weekly door knocking. So every Wednesday, the team goes out together and we target a neighborhood around where we have a listing, because those people that live in that neighborhood already would have seen our sign. So there's already that connection there. So what we do is on Monday morning meetings, we ask who wants to go door knocking. And if it works within their schedule, we normally have about 5 to sometimes 10 people go out. We give them like a piece of paper that has, hey, we have a buyer looking in your neighborhood, and we go out and we door knock. We've gotten a lot of good leads from that, because we know that conversion is higher on door knocking versus cold calling, because you're talking face to face to a person. And then of course, hosting open houses, again, all facilitated for you. The only thing you really have to do is the agents that have to do is obviously host the open house, but even Kristan is following up with our clients and asking, do you guys want an open house this weekend? So it's not even like the agent really needs to. And then the great thing about being on a team is if you can't host your own open house, we have 5 to 6 other people that want to host it for you. So there's always open house coverage. There's always open houses to be held, which is great. Again, just touching back on marketing, I kind of touched on this in the contract to close aspect, but we create all the social media graphics for you, sponsored ads, videos, TikToks, reels. I, again, shoot reels just on my phone with whatever agent would like to shoot a video with me, but also we get professional reels done by our photo and video company, which is Northern Spruce. They're amazing. We do email marketing. So every time a listing gets listed, that next day or that same day, we're sending out that email to our database of 10,000 people, and then also to our database of about 2,000 realtors. And then we do some print marketing. Again, that's the brochures. We also do sellers guides. We have pre-listing packages, listing packages, and buyer packages. So when that agent is walking out the door, we have a shelf right beside that door, and we have a bunch of listing packages that has sellers guides in there. It has examples of the brochures. It has examples of the floor plans, the feature sheets, everything that our clients can expect that they're going to get when they list with us on the marketing side. This here is Sadna. She was our top producer for April. We also do an internal email out to the team every month. Mike writes a message updating the team about, what's going on numbers wise. We include who our top producer was. We always include what listings are going live and what sold, just in case people, haven't been around. They're like, okay, what do we have going live as a team? We provide like riddles. We do what podcasts to listen to, what books Mike's reading. So it's just kind of another informational thing that's just internal. And then Kristan, do you want to touch on this?
There we go. Yeah, so just as I mentioned, we were going over the contract to close plans that we have in place. Reviews, testimonials, and referrals. This is a really big part of it, right? And so when we get to sold firm, whether we're working with somebody who has purchased a property or they've sold, we want to make sure that we can try and get them on track to leave us that Google review if they're able, right? So some of the clients that we work with don't have Gmail, they don't have email, they don't feel necessarily tech savvy. I have actually set up Google emails with people before on the phone, and then they leave us a review. But for people who don't have email, we're going for that testimonial, right? And then again, holding them accountable to that promise script, hopefully getting that referral. And if not getting that referral at that time, making sure that we continuously follow up on that when they move over as a past client after closing day, right? So just as I said before, when we get a sold firm, we're doing that survey to find out how their experience was. So 8 and above, we're going to get that Google review campaign going right away. And what that looks like is just an action plan that we have in place in our CRM to make sure that we're following up with them appropriately to get that Google review. Because oftentimes what we found over the past year is people forget to get the Google review if we're asking them to do it in the middle of the day. So if you're asking for a Google review between, let's say, 8 and 5 o'clock, it's going to take you a few months to get that review. It might even take a year. If you do that ask after, I would say like 6:30 p.m. in the evenings, like on a Thursday or Friday, you're more likely to get that Google review. So if they gave us 8 and above, we're going to push that action plan to keep following up and making sure that we're timing those follow-ups appropriately so we can hopefully get that Google review. If we are getting a testimonial on the phone, which quite often we do, Jade goes ahead and she brands it. We post that in Slack so everyone can see it. So we just post something along the lines of 5 stars for Sadhana, amazing. We post that in Slack. Everybody, in Slack, if you're not familiar with it, you can choose little emojis. So everyone hearts it and does like little celebratory emojis on it, which is really, it's just a fun little thing. But we get those testimonials for social media. And then again, asking for that referral. If we do get contact information for a referral, we just add that right into the CRM and get the agent on it right away. So that's what that looks like. I find something I really want to say though with reviews, because that's the first thing I find for solo agents to fall off is following up on getting those Google reviews, because it takes a lot of follow-up. So I think it's really valuable because it does convert people. If you're at a listing appointment and you have like 250 Google reviews, that's a really great thing to be able to showcase, especially when you're working with a team and you can see the reviews coming in, actually name parts of the team. I mean, you can see up there, we've got a testimonial from Jim, who was a seller of ours and a buyer that worked with Sadhana. They mentioned the team. Right. And that's something, if you actually go to our Google page for MRN and look at the reviews and read them, they do mention our team members by name, people that are on the ops team. They mention the agent. They say the agent did a great job, but they mention the team members. They mention the systems. They mention the follow-up. And so I think, the second that you see your Google reviews are either not coming in or they're not being specific and they're not actually naming people on your team, that's an opportunity to really go and look at your systems, right? Because it's showing you that something's not adding up. But if they are naming all those things, then it means your systems are working really well. So I think that's the positive of really having a strong Google review program. It tells you how everything's working in the contract to close system.
And again, just another thing that's done for you, right? Like Kristan said, there's so much follow-up with getting Google reviews and having that support in that back end. It's also really nice. Like the agent will just be, like we said, working one day and then they'll be like, oh, I just got a 5-star review. Like, that's amazing. And then we post it on social, or we'll do a video on it, or try to get a photo with that client, which is really good. You want to talk about this, Kristan?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things we do after contract to close is we put all of those clients on a past client touch program. So we already touched on the CMAs, but automatically we're going to make sure that they're getting a CMA yearly on that house anniversary. That's done in our CRM. We touched on birthdays. So that is the birthday text that is assigned to the agent, plus the mailed card for our past clients. The pop-bys that Jade runs, which honestly has had an amazing response. There were so many past clients that I talked to after these pop-bys started, and they really enjoy, the pop-bys and the little, things, the boxes and stuff that go out. So that's really amazing. The 4 texts and the 4 calls. So that's happening. We're checking in quarterly. And again, the way that this kind of runs, I mean, there's of course what the agents do, right? They do their check-ins, those 4 texts and 4 calls, but within client care, we also do quarterly check-ins. And so what that looks like is value add for one check-in, and then the next one is going to be a referral ask. So we're going back and forth on that. And again, we're making sure that we review what is in that follow-up boss profile. So we're not calling clients or past clients on the same day that the agent did. You know, we're making sure that we space them out as much as we need to so that they're not being bombarded by our team. But generally, we're trying to create value for them in any way we can on those check-ins.
We just want to open up the floor and see if anybody has any questions or if they want to type anything in about our systems, about our database, about Slack, about client care, marketing, even transactions. Nope. I think everyone's good. Like, I don't know if I can see this all right. Nope. Mike, do you have any more questions or anything else you want to touch on about our systems?
I don't think so. Every time I hear the two of you guys speak, I'm amazed by how much actually takes place. A lot of it I'm not even aware of. For me, the phone just rings as a result of how organized you guys are when it comes to keeping in touch with our clients. It's been an absolute game changer in my business. Thank you to both of you guys for that.
Mm-hmm. Actually, one thing we didn't touch on is closing gifts, Kristan. That's something that also Kristan organizes for you. Essentially, that's probably one of the only things that the team doesn't pay for. Everything else is provided by the team, but pretty much Kristan has everyone's credit card on file and she'll completely do the closing gift for you. So hopefully she's not going shopping, but yeah, working on that.
We actually just started revamping our closing gift program, which I'm happy to share now. What's so funny about the closing gift program is I feel like if you talk to any team, all of them are going to say that the closing gifts situation is so challenging, right? And the reason why is it's something that happens at the end. People never know what to get, and then they might put it off and put it off. And so what we've done is we've tried to create a system that is scalable, but it also is more personal. We don't want to give everybody the exact same thing every single time. So a solution for that we've come up with, and in addition to that, the reason we've implemented this new system, which I'll share in a second, is because I really do think that, and I think we do as a team, client care isn't just about our buyers and sellers and past clients. It's about providing a certain level of service to our agents, right? And so that ending point where we're doing that closing gift, it's a great opportunity for us to check in with our agent and say, okay, how was your experience working on this listing? Like, how did you feel working with our ops team? How do we support you in client care? Could we have done anything better, right? And so we asked them that. It's a 3-minute call, right? We're doing it on the phone at the closing point, and not at closing, at sold firm. At that point, they have a few options that they can pick from for the closing gift. It's kind of guided by what the list or sold price was. What we're doing now is we've got the wine club, which we used to do a lot for people a few years ago, and we've brought that back because it had such a great response. So that is, you know, the clients receiving 2 bottles of wine every month for either 3, 6, or 12 months. Another option are these customizable gift baskets that look really high end. It's a company that's local to Hamilton, and they actually did the pop by gifts for us that were so well received by our clients during that time. So the kind of like, that's what the closing gift program looks like. At that point, when the agent chooses which one they want to purchase, I just go ahead and I order it and I send them the receipt, and the agent has to take the client's gift over to them. So they do the delivery. So I'm not doing that. The agent's taking the gift over to the client to drop it off, or we're having it shipped depending on what gift it is that they've gone for. So that's what we're doing with closing gifts now, but we've just launched that new program recently.
It's awesome though, but it is something that you've always kind of liaisoned and taken care of for them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, I think different people were doing different gifts all the time. And so to keep it scalable, we've decided to offer just 3 main categories that they can pick from, just to keep it scalable and customizable at the same time.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have a question here. Do you share system and script details with outside agents? Definitely. We can, I don't know, Mike, we share a lot of our scripts. I don't know if we share them all, but we definitely can share any that you're interested in. Kristan will definitely share the promise script. If you signed up through Eventbrite, you're already going to get like our thank you email tomorrow. So that will have the recording of this, which obviously we talked about our systems in it, but we'll also include the link to the promise script in there. We also have a lot of other scripts that we were providing through other webinars. So we can provide those as well. Just send us an email. And also same with the systems, like we can tell you every system that we use, and we can even go into a little bit more detail of how they work together if you're interested. This past slide there, if you are interested in booking a discovery call with Mike to learn more about our team, to learn more about the ops side, again, we have tons of accountability on the team, and we offer tons of education and leadership, which is great. So if you are just getting into real estate, or maybe you've been in the game for a couple of years, and you're looking a switch to a team or just changing teams, definitely scan this QR code and reach out to Mike. Like we said, we have accountability meetings. Mike has one-on-ones with the agents. We have ops meetings. We have Monday morning meetings. So it's really just going to hold you accountable to those goals. But at the same time, we do so much fun stuff outside of work with the whole team. Last week, we were at a Cinco de Mayo boat party. This Friday, we have a barbecue going on. We do monthly birthday celebrations with all the team members. We do our Mexico trip. There's so much that like we literally call our team such a family. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely scan the QR code. This is going to go to Mike's Calendly, I think, and you can book a discovery call with him there. I think I had, that's it. If anybody has any more questions, let us know. You can email Mike, myself, or Kristan. If you just want to send a general email, info@MackayRealtyNetwork.com is our email. MackayRealtyNetwork.com is also our website, with everybody's personal email on there. We also have 2 awesome podcasts, Mike's Sales Beast podcast, and then Sandy, who is our founder of Mackay Realty Network. He puts the Mackay in Mackay Realty Network. He hosts the Breakthrough Real Estate Investing podcast. So that's definitely more investment side if you're interested in any of those. Mike or Kristan, do you guys have anything else to say?
I don't, other than I'm grateful for you two, and I'm grateful for all of you guys showing up and listening to us tonight. I hope it helps.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone that came. Again, just send us an email and we can send you scripts, details, systems, how everything works, a little bit more in detail if you would like. You will get this recording sent out to you tomorrow as well as the promise script. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming, guys. Have a great Wednesday evening. And yeah, we hope to be in touch with some of you.
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm